Morning. It's the 25th of November, a couple days after Thanksgiving. I've got just a couple of hours available in the shop this morning. I did obtain the famous Sneaky Pete tool, and supposedly this thing is going to help me, particularly this thing, is supposed to help me get out my rear main oil seal, which is buried down in here. So we're going to give this a shot. I hope it's going to work because this is getting frustrating. We'll see how it goes. All right, making a little bit of progress, it looks like. I used a pry bar on the end here to lift up just a little bit on the crank while I'm pulling at the same time, using this to get a little more leverage. And I am starting to see the seal starting to poke out there, so I'm hoping this will hold on and it'll continue to come out all the way. We'll see. Look at this, folks. This little tool is actually working. I've got most of it out now. I'll have to chase it with this wire here, push it through when I think I got it all out to make sure there aren't any pieces left in there, but it does appear to be working. This is pretty exciting. All right, I think I have successfully removed the remnants of the rope seal. I've I just used my oil dipstick tube as the rod to make sure I got everything out of there, and I kept vacuuming little pieces as I got them. This is the biggest single chunk of the old rope seal there, and the rest of it, hopefully I got it all. I mean, the dipstick rod is running through there cleanly. I'm not seeing any more remnants anywhere, so I'm getting ready to look at installing the new seal, at least the upper half. And if there isn't anything left, hopefully if this will just push it out. This is a delicate part of the operation. I don't want to ruin my new seal, and I got to make sure it's facing the right way, but I think I'm ready to install the new upper half of the seal. All right, just wanted to share that I did get the new oil seal in there, the upper half. The only problem is there's still on this side, there's still just a couple of tiny little strands of rope seal left. When I was pushing in the new neoprene seal, it was pushing out what was left, the remnants of the oil seal. And I've gotten most of it now. There's still a couple of little tiny strands. So what I'm doing right now is reattaching the rods to the crank, which I never should have disconnected in the first place. And I'm using some pre-assembly lube. There it is right here. And this stuff is sticky. Ooh, this is sticky, but I want to make sure those bearings are well lubricated for the first start after it's reassembled and everything. So I'm working on that. I'm running out of time, so I'm not going to be able to finish putting all the rod bearings on today, but that's where I'll start Monday morning. Once I have all the rods reconnected, then I can freely rotate the crankshaft, and that hopefully will help me get the rest of that rope seal out. It's just a couple of tiny little strands. Might not even be a problem, but I feel better if even those strands are gone. So I won't put the main bearings back on until I've finished that part. So felt like I made some progress today anyway. Thank you. It is a little bit later in the day on the 25th of November. I'm back home because the shop where I'm working at is only open till noon on Saturday. So I got a little bit of daylight left to do something on my car. Most of my tools are at the shop, but I think I have what I need to do what I'm going to do here. I had bought a couple of window switches for the rear doors because these are both bad. Trying out LaFour Lincoln parts. I think that's what his name is, Felix LaFour. So I bought a couple switches from him. So I'm going to put those on, or at least get these apart so I can send them my old ones. He asked me to return the old ones as a core without charging me a core fee. I wanted to wrap up too the work on the crankshaft that I was working on. Finally got that rear main seal, the upper half, pretty much done. There's just a couple of tiny little strands of that rope seal still hanging out the end. So I'll pretty sure I'll be able to get those out. I just want to, that reminds me, I need to bring a pair of tweezers, I think, next time. But anyway, so I just started the process before I wrapped up today of reconnecting the rods to the crankshaft. Once I have all the rods reattached, then I'll be able to freely rotate the crank all the way through. I'm hoping with that I'll be able to get the rest of that rope out. I won't put the main caps on the crankshaft though, so I can move it around a little bit to help me get those last couple of strands out. I noticed that on both sides of the crankshaft that the new neoprene oil seal protrudes just a tiny bit, and I don't see anything in the instructions about trimming the ends off of it. Not to mention it's not a rope seal anyway, so I'm assuming that's normal. And when I put the cap on with the other half of the seal, it'll mesh up and it'll be fine. Um, so I'm very thankful I finally got that seal replaced. Sneaky Pete, that tool did the trick. Although I broke the tool when I was trying to use it to help me get the rest of the rope seal out, I broke part of the tool, so it may have only been a one-use tool, but it did what it needed to do this time, so I'm thankful for that. I also dropped one of the nuts from the rod that I did connect into the crankcase, but fortunately it only went as far as a piston, the skirt of the piston, didn't fall all the way through to the camshaft. If it had, oh boy, that would have been another mess, more work to take apart. But anyway, I've got more parts on order, timing chain and gear. I've got a timing cover gasket set coming. All that should be here later next week, so I probably won't get a lot done on that engine until the end of next week. Although I'm planning on being there Monday to finish with the crankshaft. I did get my little gasket for the oil pump, so I can put the oil pan back on and the oil pan in that case once I'm done with the crankshaft. So that'll be good. That'll be a good sense of accomplishment for Monday. And if I still have time, I'll put the new motor mounts on. I'll put the exhaust manifolds back on. And I don't know if there's too much else I'll be able to do until I get the timing chain gears and the rest of that front stuff. So one thing I wanted to note, which I find interesting, a lot of these part stores anymore don't even have a listing for my 67 Lincoln as far as engine parts go. And yet I can look up the part numbers myself, like the Felpro part I needed gasket for the oil pump, very common gasket, but they couldn't find it in their computer system. So I just gave them the part number for the Felpro gasket and they had it the next day. I just think that's kind of odd how that works. So sometimes you have to do a little digging yourself to get the parts you need. Anyway, I'm going to proceed with the window switches, and that's probably all I'm going to do today. All right, I've already done the one side. Now I have a new rebuilt switch, courtesy of Felix 4. Feels really nice. I'm taking on faith that I faced it the correct direction because I don't have any way really of testing it right now. I still got the dash torn apart and whatnot. So that one's already done. I've got the passenger rear door taken apart now. And just wanted to show that it's, again, going quickly. But on this one, I'm also replacing the light switch because I accidentally bought a light switch one time on eBay thinking it was a rear window switch. And I thought, oh, that's a really good price. Well, it turned out it was just the light switch. But the light switch on this side is not in very good shape anyway, so now's the time to replace it. I found it interesting too that the clips are a little bit different for the light switch, and this was the same on the driver's side rear door too, as compared to the window switch. Different style of clip. I don't remember working with this style before, but hopefully it's the same as any other, just poking something on the end here and releasing the lock. So anyway, that part's going smooth. All right, now my new switches are in my bezel here. This is the Felix LaFour's rebuilt switch, and this light switch is actually an MOS part, so I've never been used before. I find it interesting that Ford changed the color of the bases of these switches. In 66 they were red, and in 67 they were black. So both like these original ones over here in the baggie. But obviously they're interchangeable, and what Felix did is he used the toggle from a 67 and the base from a 66, but it works. You know, the wiring's the same and all that, and from the top side you can't tell anyway, so I just find that curious.